Hello, 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 hello? Hello. Okay, guys, I am back with yet another live stream. I am back to cover the weather, as you might expect, with the tidal noise data on the road weather on top of my head. But you can see, it has been a while. It's been, I think, 3 or 4 days since I did my last live stream, and I still haven't done my forecast yet. I will get to that eventually. Let me just change that. Yeah. Okay, there you go. And let me just do this. Oh. That had the unwanted effect. Wait, let me just try something. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Okay, just give me a second. That works. Okay, I fixed it. Anyways, guys, I am here to cover the severe weather that is currently going across, like, the entire U.S., basically, or the eastern U.S., and some of Canada, too. This is, honestly, like, some of the most widespread severe weather I've seen in quite a while. I don't remember seeing something like this where, like, I know it happens sometimes in July where there's just a bunch of storms that pop up, but we have, like, 5 different risks today, so that's why I mainly went live. I feel like I had to in this case. I wasn't able to before, mainly because I was working on other things. I was working on this one video that I want to post eventually, and then I forgot to save it on Premiere Pro, and then it just got completely lost, so that was my bad. But I guess I'll do that again eventually. I also did see other channels live, so I don't know. I didn't really feel like going live, so I did want to go live today, though, and I am here to cover what it needs to be covered as we look at it in real time. So let me just get everything up here. I just need to get, and then the storm reports. Okay, there you go. Okay, I got it. Okay, so this is everything that you need to know displayed on this map. You can't really see it that well. Here, wait, let me actually, that's a little bit large. And also, I know the warnings aren't right. I'll get to that in a second. Is this good? Yeah, I think that's good. Oh, let me see. Not the best. Let me. Is that better? No. I'm just trying to figure this out. Works enough. Let me just, yeah. Okay, guys, so this is the current satellite imagery we have. However, let's go deep into the radar, where most of the characteristics you need to know are within. Of course, the radar is presenting us with 2 tornado warnings currently active, and these 2 tornado warnings, this one in Illinois, I will admit, looked better earlier. It had some rotation near Sonneman and is now approaching towards Cullum, but it's not quite as much as it was, and this storm doesn't look very tornadic. It is a little bit of a weird shape because it's like kind of disconnecting from the line. It looks like it's disconnecting from the line because it's like there's no longer any reflectivity here, or very large reflectivity in this region. However, it is still part of that line, but it doesn't look like it looks like it's bowing out, basically. It looks like it's beginning to bow out and form into more of a wind threat. Basically, when it bows out, the part that would become tornadic is in the bookend vortex that would develop here. However, there is none. So, therefore, there isn't really a way for the inflow to get into the storm if it's sort of positioned in a semicircle type shape. There's no, like, part where the storm can get moisture in, which is like an opening in the storm. So, that is probably not tornadic anymore, or I don't know if it ever was, but I think it did have some tornado threat. This, in the meantime, does definitely have some tornado threat. It is right over Melrose, Minnesota, where, by the way, there is no tornado risk over here. Well, not no, it's below 2%, but that basically means none. According to the SBC, it's close to none. But you can see there actually is some rotation on the storm near Melrose, and that is currently moving towards the southeast, eventually towards New Munich, and then all the way towards Farming eventually. So this is actually kind of speeding a little bit. It's not going slow. It's moving at... Actually, it is moving pretty slow, but not anything insane. It's moving southeast at 15 miles per hour. So this is right along I-94 west and I-94 east. It's the same highway, so I don't know why I said west and east. But it's heading right along that highway, so definitely if you're driving on it, I would consider moving off the road, like getting off the road, and maybe heading towards a ditch, not under an overpass, because an overpass is never a good idea. The wind will get increased by you being under the overpass, mainly because it funnels air under the overpass, the wind. Wind kind of moves into under an overpass and starts to like spin a little bit faster when it gets there, especially if you're in a tornado. So I would not suggest that. I would suggest moving into a deep ditch that is near the side of the road. Or if there is a sturdier shelter nearby, I would suggest moving to that. Basically, you have to get to your safe spot if you're in a sturdier shelter. Even if it's not your home, you have to make sure that you are in a very interior room or a basement. You have to make sure that that room is as far away from the outside world as possible. You have to make sure if you were to walk through walls, that room, you would never end up in outside if you were to walk through all of the walls. But if you were to walk through one of the walls and you do end up outside, you have to move to the prior. So you also have to make sure if you're in a bathroom, if there is no basement, then you would have to put a hard surface on the exterior, soft surface on the interior towards you, on top of you, preferably a mattress in the bathtub. So that's what you gotta do in the case of this warning. It's a lot to think about, I know, but in this case, there's not really much time, so what you gotta do is take one of those suggestions and just go with it. So, unless if you live, are driving, like, right here. If you're driving right here and heading east, I would well, actually, no. I wouldn't suggest outrunning it there, because, well, no, I think I would suggest outrunning it, because this is moving at 15 miles per hour. So if you're, like, at the edge of the tornado warning and not really in the path, I would suggest you could try to move out of it, but I don't think it's as good of an idea. If you're in the tornado warning, you probably could take one of the suggestions I mentioned before. But this is right near Melrose right now. This is probably the most interesting tornado warning we have right now, even though it isn't displaying anything insane, but it was a little bit ago. We do no longer have a tornado warning in Illinois. I repeat, we do no longer have a tornado warning in Illinois. There is still a tornado possible tag on the severe thunderstorm warning, but I expected that because this is starting to bow out, and it doesn't really have a clear inflow to it. Even though this still is a little bit of rotation, but it's not going to sustain itself with this bad inflow. So we currently have our one tornado warning in effect. Let me just make sure. Yeah, one tornado warning in effect. Let me just change this. Also, guys, I think they're gonna have another party next door. I'm honest with you. I'm hearing something outdoors, so just bear with me if you hear anything outside. Last time, thankfully, we didn't really hear much, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case this time. We'll see. Especially since I'm in my room this time, so. Okay, so we have our first severe thunderstorm warning over here in the actual tornado risk we have. It's not a high tornado risk or anything like that. It's a 2%. It was never really a high tornado risk with these July events. But we do have our first severe thunderstorm that might be capable of producing a tornado in the future. It isn't tornado warned or anything yet, so you don't have to be in your safe spot. But you do have to be indoors, as this storm has 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds approaching towards Argonia and coming out of Danville. So make sure that you are aware with that storm. We also did just get a mesoskill discussion, I think. Is this new? Wait. Yeah, that's pretty new. That's like right before I started the stream. So we do have a new mesoskill discussion. This is for northeastern Colorado into western Nebraska. These storms are likely to be supercellular in a way. They're possibly going to produce severe wind and hail, the stronger and long-lasting storms. So basically, a weather watch will be needed in case these storms increase their coverage. So in case these storms become more widespread and affect more areas. So we're watching that area for a potential severe thunderstorm watch. But over here, we already have a huge severe thunderstorm watch cluster. It's technically not one severe thunderstorm watch because of all the NWS offices, but it's basically one cluster. You can see it extends all the way from Syracuse, New York, not including New York City, but I mean, it's pretty close to including it, all the way down to Petersburg, Virginia, and all the way west to Columbus, Ohio. So this is definitely a very widespread watch. This is probably our lowest tornado threat area. You can see in here there is no tornado warnings. And while there was a tornado possible tag on one of these severe thunderstorm warnings in New York before, it's very likely that these storms will begin to cluster and move into an environment where it's not favorable for tornadoes and more favorable for a line to develop with very few inflow notches. So I don't think we're going to see much of a tornado threat up here. However, things could change. They definitely have a chance. And look at all these wind damage reports. You don't need a tornado to cause damage. You don't need a tornado to cause damage. I mean, I know in my area where I live in northern New Jersey, there was actually some damage just up the street. I mean, I don't know if actually it was damage, but a few miles away, there was some tree branches down. I don't think that was a tornado. I think that was wind. So wind can cause some stuff too. Just realize that. So if you get any 80-mile-per-hour wind warnings, definitely be aware. Oh, and well, you look at that. As I speak, New York City is now under a severe thunderstorm watch. So now, New York City has to be more prepared for severe thunderstorm conditions. I didn't even realize that would happen, but I guess I predicted it. We also do have a tornado watch up here in Saskatchewan for Saskatoon and all these areas in between. We're not going to watch Canada as much. We usually don't, but we're still going to be aware of it just in case if there's like a big tornado, then we'll cover it. But we're not going to include it on the list of warnings, I don't think. Alright, here, let me get my charger real quickly because my computer is about to die, I think. I was muted. I was just saying this camera has a wall cloud on it, and this is our tornado warning. So this does not indicate that a tornado is on the ground. As you can see, there's no dangling from the cloud itself that you can be seeing here, unless if it's blocked by a tree, but I don't think it is. However, this still does indicate that there's some rotation. You can see how fast this cloud is moving compared to the other clouds. So there probably still is some rotation with this, but there's no tornado on the ground yet. But that tornado warning is there just because it looks like there's a tornado on radar because of all that rotation. Because sometimes rotation might indicate a tornado, or it might just indicate a rotating wall cloud. A wall cloud, of course, being this feature. So on the top of the screen, I don't think you can see my cursor, so that's what you see there. That is our one current tornado warning. But going back to radar, we still have a ton of severe thunderstorm warnings. We have 45 I don't think I've ever seen 45 severe. I think I do remember one of the super outbreaks, like the March 31st, 2023 outbreak. I'm not saying this is going to be anywhere near that, but it's just because this is so widespread, all of this severe weather. You can see it here. Oh, my radar program's so slow. It's like trying to calculate. Let me take off the storm reports because this is gonna ruin everything. And let me take off the storm reports because this is slow. Okay, that's a little better. Hopefully that runs a little bit quick. Yeah, it's running a little bit quicker because it just had too much on the screen. But you can see in this whole area, there's actually like a ton of widespread severe weather. You can see, even when there's no severe watches, there's a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings over here in the deep south. So that's very interesting. I've never seen such a widespread severe weather event just like occurring everywhere. I haven't seen that in a while, I will admit. Looking back at our camera, you can see there definitely is some of a rotating wall cloud over here. It is fast moving, but I'm not sure if there is actually a tornado on the ground with this. And if we would see it, we would have to see like the top of it, and we wouldn't know if it's a funnel or a tornado, because a tornado basically is when it touches the ground. A funnel is just a tornado formation that hasn't touched the ground yet. So we wouldn't be able to tell if it's a funnel or a tornado because of these trees, so you would just have to guess, basically, in that case. That's not what it's showing. I think it's showing Siri. Let me, change my title. So, yeah. Let's just see if I can do something. I thought I was going to be able to do something. Well, never mind. Never mind. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to comment, because I'll be here answering them. That's my job, basically, as a severe weather coverer, so. Okay, so it looks like they are going to extend this tornado warning, but not as a tornado warning. I would say as a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning, which basically means a tornado is possible, but we definitely don't think it's on the ground. So that indicates that we don't think a tornado is on the ground, but you should still be close to your safe spot. You should still be close to it just in case if a tornado forms. And this storm is imminently producing a tornado. You can see a huge severe thunderstorm warning up here in upstate New York. Definitely huge there. We have a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings in the Northeast, but that's expected because we have our severe watch there in this area. I know that's not perfectly enclosed, but once again, no tornado threat on these, I would say. These are mostly just windstorms. We do have storms firing. Oh my god. So slow. Let me close some of my tabs, because this is just atrocious. Okay, that's a little better. Oh, wow. It's like these storms just fire. It's like there is an outflow boundary up here in the Kansas storm. I don't know what's firing this storm. I think that's another outflow boundary that we just can't see. But it's so weird. These storms are just like firing right away. I don't know what's going on. But they will have some tornado threat. They will have some tornado threat, but not anything insane. And there's our severe watch for these storms. Okay, so they did say there was going to be a severe watch eventually. At least I think so. I don't even know if they issued them as a civil discussion yet, but I believe they did. Either way, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch out for cities like Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Amarillo for these severe storms that are quickly developing across, I think it's some sort of outflow boundary or dry line or whatever, in this area. So, this is what number severe watch? This is like the 5th severe watch we have out of all of these. This is the 5th severe watch. And if you don't count the Canada ones, if we count the Canada ones, this is like the 8th. I'm pretty sure this is the 8th. I don't know. It's crazy what's going on right now. But we still have our 1 tornado warning active, which, surprisingly enough, isn't in a severe thunderstorm watch. But it's still moving towards the southeast. It still has some rotation, but you can see it's kind of broadening out. There's some grays in between. The greens and reds indicate moving in towards the radar and out away from the radar. So if you don't see them very close together, that's not condensed enough to form an accurate tornado. Is this... Let me see. Nah. Never mind. My goodness. This is just so slow. So slow. Just checking something. Wait a moment. Whatever. But anyways, guys, we do have 1 tornado warning active. Definitely not anything crazy, but we are seeing a development in the situation. We're also seeing a development in my radar being so slow. It's just there's so much going on. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. It's probably overloading because of that. Let me see if I can. My computer's not getting hot, so that's good news. This entire area needs to be aware for severe weather. So there is a lot going on. You can also see we just got a severe thunderstorm warning over here near Ipswich, South Dakota. I believe this is new, or it's not super new, but let me look at the storm's progress. Yeah, it's definitely not new, but you can see this outflow boundary is ahead of it, so definitely no tornado threat with this. That shows that the cold pool is surging. Just see, is this really going that slow? Yeah, it kind of is. Okay, I thought you guys, like, had it less bad, the lag on this radar program, than me. But no, it's looking bad on the stream, too. I'm going to be completely honest. Okay, this is just... wow. Yeah, okay, so they allowed a tornado warning to expire. We no longer have a tornado warning in effect. So let me change my title. Okay, that works. There you go. Title changed. Now I gotta include all these severe thunderstorm warnings. We have 50 right now, which is kind of insane. So 50 severe thunderstorm warnings active. I never thought I would be saying that in a live stream, but here we are. And more to come. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to comment. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on the severe weather. Because it definitely can impact you if you live in the areas. Man, it's insane the lag on this. How many severe thunderstorm warnings? 42. Okay, so a lot of them were expired. Let me change that. It always does that. Okay. So you can see the camera that we were looking at in Minnesota before, but not too much to see with that. I mean, also it's not really pointing towards the storm anymore. There it is, but well, there it was. Now it's probably off screen. That's just a frame from a few moments ago. Let's give it a second. Hello? Hello, 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 hello? No. Okay. Well, whatever. There's no more tornado warning there, so that's good. Let me just check something. So I got it. Oh man. Okay guys, I know it's an unrelated note, but I do want to mention that I am getting close to something. Some milestone that I've been waiting for quite a while. Let me just see this. Let me pull this up. Wait, let me pull this up. Just so I can show it in the background. Just briefly. Here. Okay. Because I do almost have 200 subscribers, so I do want to just put that on there. Just, you know, to show that I have some appreciation for it. I don't want to, like, act like I have no appreciation for it. So. There you can see it. And just wait until it happens. But yeah, we're waiting for 200 subscribers. Definitely not a large milestone by any means, but definitely will help us get the information out to more people. That's the main goal here. If it's in the meantime, this is so slow, so I don't know if I can show it or something. I don't know. It's right there if you see it. It's a little bit in the way of the radar, but whatever. I can't really do anything about it. Alright, but we still have a very widespread severe weather threat ongoing. We're still waiting for those major winds in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, which are likely to occur very soon. We do see that there is some winds near Stafford that I'm noticing. I don't know if this is contamination. It looks a little bit like it because it basically, it's kind of pixelated, which sometimes indicates that there is some contamination. And it looks like those frames were there before. If it doesn't move with the storm, that's another indication. You can see this is definitely trying to form into some sort of linear system. At least this part right here. So that would indicate that we are increasing the wind threat. You know, these also have a wind threat as they move up towards Washington, D.C. We do also have a wind threat up here north, but definitely not as large of one. There's a little storm near Windham. It's looking interesting. Let me just look. Yeah, that looks interesting, but it's just a small storm at the moment. It is severe warning, though, for hail, and I think some winds. We do now have a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning for Scranton, Pennsylvania. So Scranton, Pennsylvania, you need to be close to that safe spot. Not quite there yet, but definitely a risk with this storm to produce 70-mile-per-hour winds. I probably would rule out a tornado, but it's never impossible with these types of storms. You can see a little bit of something here, but it doesn't look like much. Right near music. But definitely be aware in Scranton, there's 70-mile-per-hour winds coming your way, so if you're doing any celebrations for the 4th of July in that region, maybe postpone them to just a slightly later time, or just be aware of the winds coming in your area and move them out indoors or such. Because it is that day. Let's look at a camera in Scranton. I do want to see what that looks like. So here. Right here. Let's look in Scranton. Currently on the Penna Turnpike. Man, there's a lot of rain happening right now, that's for sure. I guess that zoomed it off. You can see it there. There's a lot of rain going on. I don't see much severeness to the storm yet, but there probably is going to be some severe winds as this develops through. Still one for 70-mile-per-hour winds, and a little bit of hail, but definitely not anything insane. This is moving right towards the highway, all these winds. So, this is I-476 near Scranton. So definitely, we do see some swaying of the trees a little bit. That would indicate some stronger winds. I don't know how strong those winds are. I can't really tell from this video, but I would guess less than 70 miles per hour, because 70 miles per hour is what took down those branches near my home. Because I think I was in a 70 mile per hour wind warning. I don't know. I actually don't know. So that's what you see over there near Scranton. Just everything is so slow today. I guess a lot of people are on this program too. That would make sense. Yeah, I gotta close out of some tabs. Alright, just give me a moment, guys. Gotta close out of something. Close out of this. And close out of this. Okay, that works, I guess. Hopefully that'll help. I guess it won't. I guess it won't. I'm sorry, guys. Just everybody's having a problem with radar on my go now, probably. Because everybody's on it. Alright, well, let me not move the radar too much. You can see it here. You can see there are severe thunderstorm warnings in the severe thunderstorm watch in Oklahoma and Kansas. That region is getting impacted by some severe storms. So definitely be aware over there. We do also have a lot of flooding mesoscale discussions. Realize this isn't really a severe thunderstorm type of thing for a mesoscale discussion, but it does mention that flooding is possible in this region, and flooding can be just as dangerous as severe winds. So definitely be aware in this area, probably more dangerous, because there could be some flooding that occurs at your home, potentially. So seek higher ground in your home or somewhere. Okay, guys, I am going to be right back. I didn't realize, but my dinner's here, which kind of makes sense at this point. So I'll be right back, probably in like 10 minutes. I'll put a text saying that my dinner's here. So be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. I am back. I just had dinner. So we're still looking at severe weather across the United States. And this whole area of severe thunderstorm watches. It does look like this severe thunderstorm watch over here near St. Louis is going to be expired soon, because all the severe storms are out of it now. So I bet they might either extend it or just not. Yeah, because they said the watch is uncertain because the environment is not that good. It's modest, which basically means not that good. So we're not really expecting too much with these storms in the future, so therefore there won't be a severe watch needed, it seems. We're still watching a storm near Wellington that's producing ping-pong ball-sized hail. Also the storm near Fairview that's producing 1.25 inch in diameter hail. And a few storms over here in northern Kansas region. They're outside of the tornado risk, but still wouldn't rule out some tornadoes in the future with them, but I don't really think that's gonna happen. We do, of course, now have a mesoscale discussion for storms in Minnesota and South Dakota, which mainly is for the cold pools that are developing over here. They're not expecting a watch because it's not going to be widespread enough, and you can see these are very far apart from each other. Even if they do pose a tornado threat in the future, which I don't really think is going to be the case. These storms are not going to be that widespread, so there won't be a watch issued. Unless if it absolutely needs to, man. But no tornado warnings currently. We have 37 severe thunderstorm warnings, however. Sorry. My bad. So 37 severe thunderstorm warnings active and more to come. Sorry about that. Let me see if we have any tornado possible spares. I don't think we do. We might have one somewhere, but I'm not really sure. We do, of course, have an 80-mile-per-hour wind warning, so let me actually change my title for that. That's near Washington, D.C. That region. Oh, is it still 80-mile-per-hour winds? I don't know if it still is, actually. Never mind. I think it's somewhere else. Where is it? Okay, it's up here in northern Maryland. So we do have an 80-mile-per-hour wind warning over here near Thurmont, Maryland. So this could produce some very dangerous winds. It could knock tree branches down. Could impact you by throwing objects towards you if you're outside. So definitely head indoors and in your safe spot in this case, because damage could reach inside of your home. So definitely make sure you're okay. Protect yourself. Put as many walls between you and any connection with the outside if possible, as this is an 80-mile-per-hour severe thunderstorm warning with 80-mile-per-hour winds heading towards you. If you live in Thurmont, Emmitsburg, Lewistown, Smithsburg, Highfield Cascade, Taneytown, well, I think these are in the 70-mile-per-hour wind warning over here. That's like a horrible drawing, I know, but it works. But if you're in this inner severe thunderstorm warning that you see here, that would be 80-mile-per-hour winds. Actually, no, both of them have 80-mile-per-hour winds, so I just said all of that for nothing, I guess. Well, not Taneytown. Taneytown has only 70-mile-per-hour winds. It's confusing. It's confusing. So let me change. I won't, because I only do that for 90 miles per hour. charge this again. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to subscribe. Not subscribe, bro. What am I saying? Just make sure to comment and chat. I think I just got the idea of subscribing in my head because I looked at my subscriber count, so that was my bad. But just make sure to comment and ask any questions if you need them to be answered. So we do have a new mesoskill discussion. This is just north of New York City in this area. It's very slow, I know. But you can see this one storm near Hudson and Catskill. It's probably the main storm we're looking at for hail, but every other storm is mostly for wind, and that is shown in this mesoskill discussion, where wind is a higher probability than hail, but we still have a hail risk. There's a higher severe wind potential possible in this region that was circled. So, definitely watch for the severe winds. They could impact. They could make an impact. Because you are in the severe watch if you're in this, except if you live in the Connecticut part of this. There's not really a severe watch for all of Connecticut there. A lot of lightning on these storms in Oklahoma and Kansas, actually. See all this lightning. It's definitely some very active storms over there, and still probably intensifying at that. So we're watching them. But of course our main system right now is this 80-mile-per-hour windstorm over here in northern Maryland. So northern Maryland, you need to be in your safe spot. Not all of northern Maryland, of course, just these areas highlighted here. Like in this area. If you are in that area, you have to be in your safe spot. So if you live somewhere... What counties are these? In Washington, Carroll, and Frederick counties that are within this severe thunderstorm warning, please make sure to head to your safe spot, which is the most interior room of a sturdy shelter, even if it is not your house. Make sure that if you were to walk through walls, none of the walls that you would walk through would end up outside. Almost the entire state of Pennsylvania is in a severe watch. I just noticed that, except for Erie County, like one county. See that there, and this part isn't, which I'll circle in a different color. That's the only part of Pennsylvania that isn't in a severe watch. So that's, wow. This shows how widespread the severe threat is. Sorry guys, my hair's like weirdly wet. I don't know. My hair looks horrible. Sorry about that. It's hard to look in the live stream camera because it's backwards. Alright, that works. Jeez, so slow. 49 severe thunderstorm warnings active. So a ton of severe thunderstorm warnings still active all across the United States. So continue to watch if you live in the areas affected by them. Be indoors. In pretty much like a 1% of the United States at this point. Probably more. Like, honestly. It's unbelievable. 4th of July in that regard. Excuse me. Okay. I think I just made someone leave because of that. Alright, guys, I'll be right back. I just need to check on something. I'll be right back. I'm back. This ever loads. Yeah. Once again, guys, lots of severe thunderstorm warnings active. Up to 80-mile-per-hour winds currently active in northern Maryland, so definitely a lot to watch in this entire U.S. area. Some strong winds. I just noticed this on the Wellington storm. There's definitely some strong winds. Here, let me change the color of this just because, yeah. There's definitely some strong winds over here on this Wellington storm. You can see in little pockets over here. Definitely some stronger winds. So I wouldn't be surprised if they issue a stronger warning. Basically like a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning on the severe thunderstorm warning. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens soon. Because definitely looks like some stronger winds on the storm as they intensify towards... Let me see which direction it's heading in. Like southeast, so southeast, yeah. And you can see this is starting to surge to the southeast too, a little bit of the storm. So that definitely increases the wind threat as the storm begins to surge. But you can see there is possibly some tornado threat with this, not anything insane. But there might possibly be, because you can see a little bit more of an inflow notch there. But it doesn't look too concerning at the moment. It looks mainly of strong windstorm characteristics now. Let me turn all the mesoscale expressions on. I don't know why some of these are off. That's why. Because this is just unideal. This is unideal. How do I get out of this? Wish somebody could tell me. I don't know how to get out of this. What the? Okay, maybe that. Okay. How do I get out of this, bro? Oh, is there like a scroll bar or something? Wait. What would the scroll bar be? Why can't I scroll? I don't understand. Okay, here, let me do this. I gotta do this. I can't even do any of this. What the? What am I supposed to do here? Okay, I don't know why I can't see a thing. Why can't I see a thing? Just, why is there something I give up. I give up. I'm just gonna not look at that again. I'm not gonna look at that again, because that is just atrocious. Still some hail approaching Taganik. I think that's how you pronounce it. Taganik. And Ankrum. Over here in, I believe this is Rensselaer County, or what county? I think this is Rensselaer. I'm unsure. Or is this? Oh, this is Columbia County. Wait, let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay, so it's Columbia, Greene, and Dutchess counties. But I think those places that I just listed are in Columbia County, so definitely be aware if you live in those areas, approaching tectonic shores, because there could be some hail in the storm, and also potentially some strong winds, up to 60 miles per hour. That's for sure. Let me change this back. So we still have 80-mile-per-hour winds, I think. Yep. Still 80-mile-per-hour winds heading into Thurmont, Maryland. So those areas in Maryland that I am circling now have to be in their safe spot, as this is a very dangerous storm at the moment. Along US 15, for the most part, these towns are. Let me just see if there is any other 80-mile-per-hour wind warnings. I don't think there are. That's it. There's 48 severe thunderstorm warnings active, but I think that's the only 80-mile-per-hour. Well, set of 80-mile-per-hour wind warnings. Where's this? What the? There's, okay. Weird. There's like a tornado possible severe in Minnesota still. I didn't realize that. I guess I see that, yeah. There might be a potential tornado with this, but it's not looking that concerning right now. There's some rotation, but it's very weak, I will say. Why is it so not slow here? I don't get that. Why is it not slow at all here? Okay, those are the only 80-mile-per-hour wind. No, I don't even know if they're active anymore. Let me just make sure. Because they might not even be active anymore, because I didn't see them there. No, they're still active. So we still have 80-mile-per-hour winds in northern Maryland, so definitely be in your safe spot if you were in those 80-mile-per-hour wind warnings. As probably the first of what's to come that we are going to see soon. A new storm has developed, and it's approaching towards Baltimore. There is now a severe thunderstorm warning for Baltimore now. You can see it's not really approaching Baltimore. It kind of is. It's going to approach a little bit more this way, but it's kind of hard to tell because it just developed. So you can't really see the direction that it's heading in. But it just developed. We still have 70-mile-per-hour winds on this storm that previously had 80-mile-per-hour winds near La Plata, Maryland. But that doesn't have 80-mile-per-hour winds anymore. And you can see over here, there's still a storm near Gaithersburg. That has 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that's about it. So once again, lots of severe weather across the U.S. at the moment. And I don't think we're done. We're definitely not done, as we still have 51 severe thunderstorm warnings active, which is crazy. One of them is now in Ohio, near Barnesville and Quaker City. So those areas now need to be indoors, as there is some velocities on this and not really much hail. So that does indicate that there's some wind with this storm. But you can see we are getting a lot more development over here in Oklahoma and Kansas. So there is severe outflow gusts possible, up to 80 mile per hour winds, 90 miles per hour winds over here in northern Oklahoma as they spread out southeastern. So these storms could definitely pose a big threat for outflow winds. This one is already warned for 70 miles per hour. This one is warned for 60 miles per hour. So definitely potential for a very big outflow system. Basically, these outflow winds, it's just winds heading out from the system's cold pool. Basically, when it rains down all of the moisture, these storms, then it makes the air around it cooler, and that quickly is pushed by the winds outward. And that just intensifies the winds, as the cooler air is in conflict now with the warmer air that previously existed there. So that just intensifies that winds to the southeast. So that's what we're going to see here, especially for areas such as Enid, Perry, and Stillwater. Those areas might get some pretty strong winds coming up. I don't know, I mean, I'm going to say there's derecho potential with this, because this is a very tiny area, but we don't really know with anything in July. Definitely change our predictions. Still have a severe thunderstorm watch up here in Nebraska. Not that much going on. There's some big hail, but not anything insane. We're watching this one storm that's heading towards, or just south of O'Neill, heading towards Inman more likely. This has 1.50 inch in diameter hail. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning all the way up here near Detroit Lakes. It's near Fargo, too. That has 1 inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds. So definitely an interesting storm there. Let me get all of these out of the way. I know that's gonna do the thing again, but I need to get these all out of the way. Yeah, whatever, good enough. Yeah, because I feel like the flooding mesoscale discussions are just... they're just in the way, I feel. So we still have 80 mile per hour winds in Maryland. However, it did just get extended to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and now it's only warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So that might be a good sign. That might be a sign that you guys might be able to get out of your safe spot soon. Probably the damage has already been done in some areas, but definitely not in Gettysburg. Gettysburg might be safe, for the most part. Of course, there might still be some damage with the 60-mile-per-hour winds, but definitely not as much. But yeah, I can tell there has been less of those velocity. Well, you can't see it here. This is reflectivity. There has been less of those reflectivity. I just mixed up my words. Velocities over time as it heads towards the northeast. There's definitely not as much. You can see no more brighter colors. There is some near Emmitsburg and Thurmont, and maybe that's why they're keeping the 80-mile-per-hour wind warning for now. But it will be extended as a 60-mile-per-hour storm instead. Still a ton of severe thunderstorm warnings active. Let me see. We have 51 active still. 51. And these storms are just waiting to intensify as they enter into Oklahoma. There might be some big winds with these. I mean, I'm unsure if this is gonna end up being like a long tract event. I mean, this seems like a small area for now, but we'll see if that continues. There's a lot of potential with those storms, to be honest. And so where our only tornado risk is, there probably will be a tornado threat along those storms, but not anything crazy, I bet. Let's look in Oklahoma, just to get some cameras out ahead, because I know there's cameras that exist there. Let me just check. Wrong thing. Where's the Oklahoma cameras? Oh, I closed out of it for some reason. Yeah. Look near Enid. Well, actually, let's look near the Wellington, Kansas storm. I mean, this camera I always look at. Let me see this. This is pretty interesting. This is looking right into the storm, and you can see some lightning here. You can actually unmute this if you want. Let me see. Okay, well, it has no sound, I guess. So. Why are we recommending using... I don't know. But this is what you can currently see in Oklahoma, far northern Oklahoma, along I-35. You can see there's also potentially some hail with this, but not anything crazy. It's mostly the winds that we are seeing. We're seeing them track across the road, so definitely a big thunderstorm right now at the moment in Oklahoma. This is our Kansas storm moving across the border with those big winds at the moment. Of course, the biggest winds are in Kansas right now. Those 70-mile-per-hour winds that are predicted. However, even with that, you can see these are very strong winds here, and they extend into Oklahoma. Not right here where the camera is, but a little close to it. And you might be able to see it to the right or something. This is heading north. This camera's looking north. These are still 60-mile-per-hour wind warned. More of a hail threat right now, but definitely will become more of a wind threat as it heads towards Cannon and Tologa. And eventually Oklahoma City will be in the threat of this, so definitely a lot to look at. So we currently now have 44 severe thunderstorm warnings active. A few of them were expired at the 6:45 area, because they usually do expire at that point. Or some of them, anyways. Definitely a threat pretty much everywhere at this point. Still a very large severe thunderstorm watch over there. And there's also a very large severe thunderstorm watch, a cluster of severe thunderstorm watches over here still. I know that's not the best, but whatever. Now, some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some hail, 1 inch in diameter, is heading just south of Wilkes-Barre along this road, which is I-476, heading towards the Hazleton area a little bit too. Or is that I-81? That's I-81, my bad. This is I-81 right here. That's I-81. So. We do have our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day, or potentially in the day. I don't know if there was a severe thunderstorm warning at midnight with those storms yesterday, but we do have our first severe thunderstorm warning in the day in my state, New Jersey. So, this little storm right here is quickly heading towards the Hardwick Township, Newton, Branchville area in Sussex County. So, if you live in, actually, pretty much all of Sussex County, unless if you live in Stanhope? Yeah, Stanhope. Stanhope's there. So this whole portion of, well, that's the whole county, but basically this whole portion of Sussex County needs to be indoors now. So be aware. There is a storm coming towards you. We do now have a new mesosphere discussion for pretty much our main risk area today, which is the Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia area right in here. That's where the enhanced risk is, besides the one in Oklahoma, too. And we still have a very pronounced area of damaging winds that are possible. More focused corridors of higher wind risk may emerge. But this is generally what we're expecting, some widespread severe weather with these storms that are quickly developing. One near Gaithersburg, one approaching Baltimore. We do also have this one near Marshall and areas as such. But this definitely doesn't seem like as concerning of wording as what we're seeing over here in Oklahoma and Kansas, I will say. So definitely a change. I feel like most people were expecting the severe threat in the Northeast to be a little bit greater. Not necessarily greater, but more widespread. This might be even more widespread. Or even if it isn't, it's definitely going to be stronger. But we weren't expecting that because before there wasn't even an enhanced risk out there. But they definitely have changed things. You can see these storms are quickly developing into a line. So definitely a threat over there. We're still watching this Oklahoma camera in the background. Still watching it in the background. So once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to ask me. I'm right here just to answer any questions of anybody in need. "70-mile-per-hour winds now heading into Harrisburg." You can see this kind of bowing out at the moment. So that kind of indicates that there is an intensifying windstorm over here. Especially with the lack of inflow, this is starting to get winds on the backside to make a cold pool surge. So that's going to cause the storm to surge out ahead with strong winds coming from the center. So that storm definitely has some 70-mile-per-hour winds in it, just due to the look of it. You can't really see it on radar velocity, but it probably is there, heading towards Harrisburg. So Harrisburg does need to be a bit close to their safe spot. Not necessarily in it, but they have to be approaching it just in case if we get an 80-mile-per-hour wind warning over there. Just in case. We still have 70-mile-per-hour winds over here in Kansas and Oklahoma where our camera is. Did they just extend this? I feel like I've seen a little extension there, but whatever. I don't know, maybe they did. They did shrink this a little bit. There used to be a severe thunderstorm watch over here, I think. But it still contains Columbus due to this one severe thunderstorm warning over here in Ohio. Which is really not doing that much. It's just 60-mile-per-hour winds, but still. We also do have a 60-mile-per-hour windstorm over here in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. So in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, specifically Mount Pleasant, Connellsville, and Scottsdale, there is a 60-mile-per-hour severe thunderstorm warning with no real hail threat heading into those regions. And you can see this could be stronger. Let me see how it's progressed on the latest scans. Definitely strengthening. I mean, it's kind of always been like that since a few minutes ago, but definitely strengthening. So, or getting more widespread, rather. So, definitely could be a 70-mile-per-hour wind threat over there in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. That just adds another area to our list. We do also have a new severe thunderstorm warning in southern Connecticut. So, how about there? We have a severe thunderstorm watch for 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds for Wallingford, Durham, Middlefield, Meriden, and Yalesville. Let's see, this is a little storm. Definitely. No rotation on it, obviously. We're not expecting much rotation in this area, but definitely still a hail threat, a little bit more than the other storms. You can still see there is a big hail threat with the storm now approaching into the tri-point with Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New York. This looks like rotation, but it isn't. You can tell it's just some strong winds because the part that would be rotation, which is right here, is not only looking pixelated, but it's outside the reflectivity. Here, let me show you. There it is. You can see it's a little bit mismatched. I can't circle both areas at the same time, but you can see just north of Millerton there. And it's more over here where that line is, the circle. So that's not perfectly lined up with reflectivity, as you can see. It's not perfectly lined up. It's a little lopsided, so that would indicate that there is not a tornado developing with that storm. But we'll see. We'll see. Still 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. I still doubt it, though. Man, I'm just noticing this now on the camera in Oklahoma. Look at those winds. It's causing everybody to slow down. But yeah, it's definitely some strong winds over there. You can see, oh my goodness. Man, unfortunately, there's no trees to show that any damage is occurring, but there's definitely a big wind threat with the storm. Let me see what it's warned for now over there in Oklahoma. This is in far northern Oklahoma, by the way, along I-35 near Brahman. Approaching towards Wellington. This is still warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds. I mean, I guess you could consider it 60-mile-per-hour winds, but you can see this is very close to that big wind bag over there in Arkansas City, Kansas. There's Brahman. It's weird. Now it just weakened. So I guess there's like little spurts with the storm. I guess it's a very small area of high wind over here. But yeah, now the wind has calmed down a little bit. It's still there, but I don't think it's severe anymore at this moment. You can actually see some trees in the distance, but it's a little hard to see, so you wouldn't be able to see the damage. There it tries to pick up again. You can also see some hail flakes over here. Can see some hail, so I do think that is also present. Anyways, guys, I'll be right back covering more weather. I just need to go and check on something again, so be right back. Guys, I've decided, like, I will continue. I will probably post a video or something maybe on this in the future, but I decided I'm just going to spend time with my family for the remaining moments. And also, I do need to get ready for my vacation. I not really fully packed for it yet. I would be if I stopped this live stream. So I'm just going to end it here. I mean, there is still a ton of severe weather active, so definitely be aware if you live in those areas. But I feel like most people should be okay as long as they take the proper precautions. There is a 70-mile-per-hour wind warning on that storm in Oklahoma now. So don't worry, guys. I will be back in a few days, but for the next few days, I will be away on my vacation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. If you don't know what the notifications look like, is the bell icon right to the subscribe button. Also, make sure to like this video. And always know that whatever you do, don't let go of that highway that is known as the Maurice Data on the Road Freeway. Goodbye, guys.